So I'm here with Cameron Johnstone, the Chief Executive Officer of Nautricity Limited. Cameron, we've got your wind turbine behind us at the moment. Can you explain what it's designed to do and what sort of energy problems it's going to solve?
Our tidal turbine uses two rotors, and the sort of objective there is to sort of reduce the weight, reduce the cost of the device, and give it a higher operational performance relative to a conventional turbine, which is basically a wind turbine that's been waterproofed and put on the seabed. By doing that, we will be delivering electricity at the cheapest possible cost, far cheaper than the current approach is doing.
Because tidal energy has, in the first stage of development, been seen as being very expensive. How are you going to make it a lot cheaper?
We've went back to the sort of drawing board, and we've redesigned the technology to reduce the complexity and reduce the amount of equipment that you have in there. As such, we've made a substantive reduction in cost that now makes it economically viable.
So is this the solution to all our power woes, do you think?
We hope it is a solution. The tidal power is immediately on our doorstep. It's a vast resource, and we believe we can deliver it at the cheapest possible cost.
But you're going to have quite a few turbines in the water, aren't you, to produce this power, certainly for bigger communities. Is that not going to have an environmental impact?
I think, first of all, a turbine might supply up to, say, 1,000 homes. So depending on the size of community you're looking to satisfy, that will dictate the size of the tidal farm. As far as the environmental impact is concerned, you're going into a very harsh environment to start with, which is very barren because of the high tidal velocities. The seabed will have been literally stripped bare of any sea life. So you have negligible environmental impact to start with.
But what about fishermen in the local area? They'll have to fish elsewhere, will they?
Again, because of the high tidal velocities, these are not environments that you get a large number of fish congregating in. It would attract fishermen into these areas. And the second point would be that the tidal farm itself will be a small percentage of that sort of seabed, sort of 2%, so there'll be certainly vast other areas available to fishermen to fish in.
The Scottish Government has positioned itself as very much a government in favour of renewable energy. How is the government supporting your development of this new device, and what do you think of its policy in general?
I think obviously it's a very bold target the Scottish Government have set, and we see ourselves as a company that will aid the Scottish Government achieve that target, because if we're successful in doing that, then Nautricity will be a successful company because it will be delivering the technology to attain that policy.
And how are you working now? Obviously you've got this in development, but there are very few studies on things like the environmental impact. How are you going to move that all forward and move the project forward now?
I think we're looking at developing sites, and these will be sympathetic to the locality that we're working in. We will be working in partnership with the communities that are at these localities. We will also be doing a scale build out, so we'll not be going in there and just building a vast array. We'll be doing a small site first of all, working in partnership with these communities to understand what's going on, address any issues that arise, so that we have a successful project delivered by the end of the development programme.
And what's your prediction for the company? When do you think you can actually get this as a commercially viable option?
Certainly we're in the process just now of developing sites. We hope to have our first technologies in the water for a year, at this time next year, and that will demonstrate commercial value that will then start to generate a revenue. So certainly within the next 18 months we will have a commercially derived business operating on its own 2 feet.
Lovely. Thanks very much indeed.